Welcome everyone to our after church tea time today on the topic of how to achieve true wealth. That Jose and Michaela gave a beautiful, very valuable and rich sermon on. And let's just start by all of us introducing ourselves. My name is Dennis.
And I'm Nicole.
My name is Anupama.
My name is Gabby.
Hi, I'm Jenny.
Wonderful. So let's just start by each of us sharing what the main message was that we received from the sermon and what really stood out for all of us. Is there anyone who has the first piece and would like to start us off?
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead, Anupama.
Yeah, so the main message was like to always go all in, with God, and to take that leap of faith even when it feels like the biggest risk that you have taken, because with God, I mean, you have that guarantee that risk, that what you feel is the risk is going to work out really beautifully because you're doing it with God. You're not doing it on your own, and you're not doing it based on the external, which is how I used to try to make money before, trying to do it by myself or do it for an external reason of needing that money or do it for money. So now it's like coming from a place of loving myself and from that place of love and peace, which is connection with God. Then when you do it, it's much easier. It's a lot of fun, and it's far more abundant than you thought was possible. So that was what I got as the key message. And yeah, that's what I've been diving deep into, because loving yourself means loving every part of yourself, even those parts that you didn't want to look at, or those situations that made you feel that you don't want to look at those situations anymore because it reminds you of a time when you were in a tight spot, etc. So it's about really uncovering all aspects of you. And it's easy to think that, if I push that part aside, then I can just escape from that and escape from that memory and escape from that part of me. But, you can escape all you want in your mind, but your body still holds the vibration. And therefore you will still continue to bring about those situations, even if you are thinking different thoughts, even if you're trying to change things around. You can't deny any part of you when you're on this journey. And so those are really key things that stood out for me, and things that I've been working on too, like that you just can't just look at the nice pictures. You got to look at the things that you thought were not nice, because if you look at it, they all had a big lesson, of where you were not choosing yourself and where you now need to choose yourself and love yourself in those spaces. Because love is all there is. And money, financial freedom is a vibration of love. It's not about that piece of paper. It's not about the figures in your bank account. It's about how much of love you're giving yourself. That's what's going to transmute into how much of love you're going to receive. And God is love. So, in a relationship with God, you can't have escapism and forgetfulness. So, this is what has been my key takeaway.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. I feel like as you were talking, like the key message that I received from everything you said, and that Jose and Michaela like also mentioned a couple of times in the sermon, is how like abundance is an inside thing, and like raising your vibration and having abundance financially and otherwise in your life is an internal journey. And as you mentioned, like it's not about like, they said this sentence that like for me really stood out, where they, which was kind of paraphrasing right now, they mentioned that like, it's not about working like on the outside, doing something on the outside, but it's about like from what energy you do it, how you feel while you do it, and whether you love God and you give. And that like, if you want to raise your wealth vibration, you're not just going to be like, okay, I'm going to put in more hours and that's going to resolve the problem of experiencing poverty. But it's really about, you just, mentioned Anupama, like loving yourself, choosing love, and taking the internal journey to experience to abundance, and to raising your vibration to abundance.
And acting out of love and not of obligation, not to take from yourself. You have to actually do what feels good, and love. You have to choose to love, to give love.
True. And
for me,
yeah. And while you were speaking, Dennis, I like you were saying about poverty. If you look at it, poverty is just where you've been poor in giving yourself love, where you have loved yourself poorly. I mean, not because you did that intentionally. We didn't know. We didn't know that we have to love ourselves. At least for me, I was taught that I have to love everybody else. And, if I have any energy left, then I can take care of myself. But that's why, I experienced whatever I did. And it's okay. It was a lesson. So it's good to be able to learn the lesson and now move ahead into loving myself and manifesting what I actually do desire.
Amen.
Amen.
Who wants to share next?
Okay, I'll share that. I love that. It kind of leads into how I felt about it, was that investment into yourself, putting that investment into yourself and into discovering your purpose, discovering your true purpose that God has for you, and letting God lead, letting love lead, so that you're doing everything with love and you're serving a purpose that's greater than yourself, that's divinely guided, that's creating with God. And I feel like that's where that abundance comes from, is in putting that healing into every step, putting that love into every step of the way. And then when you create, when you're serving with that love, you're serving with that healing, and it all gets served with the work that you're doing. And that's what brings in the abundance, because you're just giving love out, right? And then it comes back in the form of being supported to do that, so that you can continue to grow your ability to love in service. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Jenny.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, Gabby just went away.
Sorry, I tried to unmute myself and turned my picture off. I was just gonna say that pairs like beautifully with the kind of key takeaway for me, which was the part where they said, God's not going to give you more energy if you aren't having fun and doing it for love. And I was laughing when they said it, because yesterday I was helping a friend mow their lawn, and I had never used a self-propelled lawnmower before. So I had like mentally prepared for like this arduous work, right? And then they're like, okay, and then when you're ready to start, just hold down this lever. And I was like, why are there two different? Okay, whatever. And then I pulled the lever, and it was like a cartoon. That thing like took off away from me. And I started laughing, because it's the same thing. Like, when you're letting God do the work, right? When you're following God instead of like trying to do it all by yourself and trying to push that lawnmower up that ridiculous hill, right? All you have to do is partner with God and pull that lever and off you go, right? So that was like the big sticking point for me, is just like everything is so much easier and so much fun, and you like retain so much energy when you're partnering with God and letting him do the heavy lifting and just going where you're being guided to. It doesn't have to be hard. It can be effortless and easy.
Mm-hmm. I love that. That part also really stood out for me, where they mentioned like when you have fun, God gives you all the energy you need. And if you're not having fun, God is not going to give you energy. And I know like in, you know, like in the old vortex of like working and all of that, we look at the word, like, you know, if you don't know what your life purpose and you do something you don't want to do, you're not having fun. Like everyone is like stuck in this cycle of feeling drained by their work and doing it for the paycheck, as Jose and Michaela also mentioned. And that's like for one, like really miserable, and for the other one, yeah, just really miserable. And that's like, yeah, the thing that we're really transcending with this work and Jeff and Chia's teaching. And like you, Jenny, mentioned that beautifully too, like how it's so important to find what you're passionate about and what you really love doing, because when you find that thing, it's not gonna feel like work. And Jeff and Chia have this quote from LPC where they say that like life and work and play is like working is playing. It feels the same, and that's how it should be. And that's like, yeah, when you find what you love doing, like it's gonna feel like play, and you're automatically gonna have fun, and then you automatically get energy, and then you automatically get money. So it's a win-win-win-win situation on every level.
Yeah, the other piece that I loved was when Jose was talking about like strengthening your spiritual muscles and like doing things that he's done before in the past, and like noticing the difference of how much easier it is now. That was like the other part that stuck out to me, because like that happens all the time. I'll be in like the same situation that I've been in before, but it feels so much easier, because as you go through the work and go through the healing, like you don't even realize how much stronger spiritually you're getting, and how much easier it is to resolve those blocks when they come up, and how much easier it is once you have invested into the work and into yourself. Like all hell could be breaking loose, right? And you're still like, all right, let me just grab my tool belt. Like, I'm gonna go shut myself in a room and do some mirroring for a sec. And then like everything just kind of resolves, right? The storm just dissipates and you go about your merry way, because you have invested the time and energy into building that foundation. And now things that would have, you know, put you in like utter depression before are like this is fine, I can handle this, like let's walk it back. That was the other piece that I was like, yeah, I am strengthening my spiritual muscles. I love that.
Yeah, I love that too. And that brings me to a wonderful thought of being able to look back on the situations that you've been in the past, being able to see how far you've come, and letting that motivate you to keep going, you know, to keep doing the inner work, keep choosing the path of your life purpose work. And because, you know, along the way, there'll be times where you get discouraged. I know for myself, I went from a, you know, technology IT career to now I'm trying to, you know, I'm starting to become a coach and meditation teacher, yoga teacher, all these things, the spiritual side of loving and giving and volunteering in the church. And there are times when I get a little bit of that discouragement, like, well, maybe I should go back and do maybe some part-time work to supplement until I can get everything going. And then I'm thinking about it and I'm like, but what did it feel like when I was doing that? And then what does it feel like when I'm with a client coaching now? What does it feel like? And I'm like, oh, I'm not going back to that. Like, I've got to keep going. I just have to keep going. This is where it is. This is where it's going. This is where I need to be. This is where God's guiding me. And yeah, it helps me to remember, what I don't want my life to be from time to time. It gives me a greater appreciation and that gratitude for where my life is going now. And to keep cultivating that and to keep pouring my heart into it, to keep pouring my love into it so that it can grow.
Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, and brings me to what you all were sharing about knowing your life purpose. I thought I knew what my life purpose is. Like when I was a child, I thought I knew it. But becoming an adult, you learn all these things about what you should be doing, in society, like to be considered a good person or a good citizen or a, good girl. So I started choosing careers which look good on paper or look good, when you read about it. But when I actually did them, it just didn't feel right. By the end of it, I just did a lot of those jobs just to pay the bills, to get that check at the end of the month or the beginning of the month, like depending, And yeah, it was initially, it was difficult to break that mold and understand what loving myself entails. And as I have these conversations with her, I'm like, what do I do now? What should I do? And I would just get this answer, love yourself. And I'm like, what? Love myself. But listen, God, I have to pay bills. I have to have this check. I have to do, and I would just hear this voice go, mm-hmm. And I'm like, mm-hmm. What is, mm-hmm. What do I do? And it's like, love yourself. I'm like, this is the most exasperating conversation. How can I love myself and have money? How can I pay those bills? And then, gradually learning to let go and seeing the dynamic that, oh, this is actually what it is. Because anytime I decided to logic it out and worry about the bills or worry about what people would say about what I'm doing or what I'm not doing, rather, and then paying attention to that, I would see a dip in my finances. And then it'd be like, okay, what am I supposed to do? Love yourself. Okay, fine. Let's do the mirror exercise, shall we then? And anytime I did that and started loving myself, some opportunity would show up, which wasn't on the horizon before. So, gradually connecting the dots, understanding that this is real, this is not just, this is a new way of thinking. But actually, when you think of it, it's not a new way. It's like reconnecting to the original way of how I was created to think, and reconnecting with that and really making it a day-to-day, I was going to say job. It's not a job, but really a day-to-day habit, and making it flow effortlessly. That's where the work is. That's what you need. That's all you need to do to really focus on loving yourself. And I used to think loving myself was, a certain way. Like I just had to do this, just like maybe buy myself new clothes or, which is already very good at. And I have a lot of clothes and jewelry and because, I'm a girl. So, but that was not it. Loving myself was really like giving myself the love that I wanted and loving myself in the way that I wanted and feeling loved. It was not just about giving myself a hug and okay, I'm done. It's about, did I feel good with that hug or did I just give myself a hug because I thought that's what love is? So really love, because it's really the fact, like what Brianne said in the card reading, that where your thought grows, that's where your energy flows. So when you think about hugging yourself or loving yourself versus when you feel love for yourself and you feel the love that you've given yourself, are two very different things. And that's what I noticed on my journey, that when I was just saying it versus when I was feeling it and actually doing it, there was a big difference in the abundance that I felt within, and therefore manifested on the external. Like, as they say, as within, so without. So yeah, it's been, so my purpose is to keep loving myself, and then, going that way. And on that journey, like, I've been discovering parts of myself, like I shared earlier, that I had thought I have to forget about, because it didn't fit into the world as is. And rediscovering those parts and just being able to relax into those parts of me and reconnect, and really, I really feel myself coming together once again. Like, it was like I'd split into these pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, and now I'm putting the puzzle back piece by piece by piece. And that's what my purpose is. And that's when my purpose becomes clearer and clearer and clearer. And everything is connected, you know. So once I'm getting hold and I'm getting clearer with more clarity, my purpose is more light. Uh, my own light shines through. So, the giving to the world outside also then happens effortlessly and easily, and I don't feel drained and tired. And so, yeah, all that is also part of abundance. It's not just about the money, it's about everything. It's about how I'm feeling at the end of the day, or in every moment, rather. Not just that. Yeah, why it's at the end of the day is because that's how we were trained to program, right? If you how do you feel at the end of the day? Do you feel like you've had a great day? I'd be like, and how tired you are was the measure of how good your day was. But now it's like, I'm still feeling good at the end of the day because, my day was filled with loving myself. And it's such a huge difference. That's when you're on the right path also. So yeah, it's been great, like learning and evolving, and abundance is in everything. It's in me, it's part of me. So yeah, my purpose is that, to just get to know me.
Were you going to say something? No.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for sharing that, Anupam. And what you said, one thing came up for me that Susie and Michaela mentioned in the sermon, where they were talking about how you are your best and biggest investment.
Yeah.
Like, investing in yourself is the most important thing when it comes to growing your abundance. Like, you can't exclude yourself from the whole thing, because then you're like, yeah, it just like doesn't work. So like, like, especially when it comes to this whole belief of like, okay, if I want to grow my abundance, I have to save money, or I shouldn't spend it on this and that. And that's actually, like it actually works the other way around. But like, when you invest in yourself, then your abundance can grow. And Jose and Michaela talked a lot about how sometimes you have to take these like risks and invest your money where God is guiding you to. And yeah, that definitely takes like faith and trust and all of that. But like in my experience, like every time when we've done that, it has absolutely worked. And like over the last couple of months, like ever since we've come together, we've been healing a lot around like home, our foundation, finances, and just having like stability in our life and all of that. And we've had to move. And I know in the beginning I had so many times where I would like frequently freak out and be like, we don't have money, we're gonna die, we're never gonna make this, oh my God, how is this can never work out. And every time, like, my first reaction was like, okay, I have to do something, like, what's the next step on our life purpose? But it just felt so bad to actually take this like physical step. And most times, like, we either didn't have the energy, or like something else came in between, and like we never took these like external steps when it was like, hey, we need money, what can we do? Like, that like never worked, like we never came to that. And what just like happened was, okay, we were just like healing our things, and kind of, and I had many moments where I was like, we're just healing, oh my God, this is gonna work out, like, oh, we're completely like fucked when it comes to money, like, are we like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? And then every time I came in this like freak out state, and I just like healed and everything, like every single time it somehow worked out. We received new clients or received money from this or that place. And every time I was like, oh my God, God gave us the exact amount that we needed to support ourselves in whatever way we needed to support ourselves in. And I know, like, after a couple of months of this just like repeatedly happening, I finally came to this place where I was like, okay, we need money. We don't have the money we need. Okay, I'm just gonna chill. God's got it. Because I've just like basically just like I've built this like trust with God, but just repeatedly going through this experience of like, okay, are we gonna make it financially? Okay, God, I'm gonna trust you, even though I'm freaking out a bit right now, but I'm gonna still trust you. And then God like caught us every single time. And like if you just like work take like a spiritual journey when it comes to your finances, you're gonna see that God like catches you every single time, and he never like leaves you alone or abandons you. We have a fly that is flying in front of the camera all of the time. That's very weird, but yeah. And yeah, like we had like a lot of even like kind of like miracles, I would call them. Like I know when we were moving, we found this place we're in right now. It just like happened out of nowhere within like, we were like, okay, we still have 5 months to find a new place. And then we just manifested this place and was like, okay, we can move in. But then like the whole moving process and everything was like quite expensive. And we were like, okay, how is this, like we had to pay like, when you move into a new place, I don't know the English word for it, like the upfront payment or something. And that month we made like, I think like twice as much from our Ascension coaching business as usual, but literally not doing anything other than just like healing and loving the clients we have and moving and focusing on like, packing our stuff and focusing on like taking care of ourselves. And God literally was just like there and like supported us perfectly. And yeah, that's just been, the experience every single time, like no matter what situation you're in when it comes to, your financial situation, like God will always be there and catch you and show up for you. And you can totally trust that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with Dennis about, I totally resonate with what you said about just healing and like that's it, like thinking, is this it? I mean, I don't need to do anything, just heal, like money, and going from there to, okay, God's got this. I just need to align with, I don't have to worry about anything, and being totally learning to be okay with the unknown. Like the unknown is not fearful. Like before, taking that risk and going into an unknown was like the scariest thing you could do. It's like the worst thing you could do. But when you're doing it with God, it's not really unknown because God knows everything. Maybe it's unknown to you, but maybe you don't need to know that. You just need to keep doing the work of loving yourself and trusting God. And I read somewhere that, when God is silent, it's because God's doing the work. So you just need to chill. God's telling you, just chill. God's in the driver's seat. So you just chill and enjoy the view. So yeah, I just wanted to share that.
What were you gonna say?
That I also loved, as Jose and Michaela mentioned, that your wealth also is in your relationships. So wealth is not just how much money do you have and all of this kind of stuff. It's like your wealth is in your relationships and how much you support yourself as well, and how much rest you give to yourself.
Yeah, I love that. How it's all about, wealth is more than just money. I love that. And it kind of goes back for me to tying together like the, wealth with loving, that it's a relearning that we're doing here. We're relearning how to manifest wealth in a way that's aligned with God and aligned with love. And at the same time, I know in my journey, I am relearning what loving actually means and is, to love myself, to love another through service, to love the people in my life, I feel like it's all tied together, just how everything's connected. And with every bit of healing, with every bit of inner work, we're always just going deeper into loving and going deeper into God. And from that place is where we go deeper into wealth and abundance in every area of life, and in everything that we do, and in everything that we put ourselves in and our hearts into. Yeah, and it all just grows.
Yeah, I love that. Just like healing poverty in all areas of your life instead of like just your finances. I love how he said like poverty feels like a constriction in your heart space, right? That's what it feels like. So when you're feeling into like these blocks and fears that you have that come up, like notice when like your chest tightens, or like when you feel that lump in your throat, like that's poverty. That's poverty consciousness. That's what it feels like. And I loved how he pointed that out, because I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what that is. Like every time there's that like tightness, like the cause of it is like poverty consciousness somewhere, like in some area of your life, holding on to that poverty consciousness. So I thought that was like so helpful to have that like, aha, I get it. Like you have to really like feel your feelings when that comes up, because that's pointing to somewhere in your consciousness that poverty still lives.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I love that physical embodiment of it, of the feeling that it's there. And we just have to open ourselves up to letting it flow, letting it be loved, letting those places be loved, letting ourselves love ourselves in these places, right?
What do you mean the answer is just love myself? What?
Yeah, that was the big confusion I had. Like, love myself? That's it? What about the work? What about money? What about food, bills? Like, just love yourself. For real?
Yeah. Well, and that's because that's where everything flows from. That.
Absolutely.
And it's not that we don't have to do the things. Like we still have to do the things. Like we massively have to do the things.
Yeah.
It starts from the inside first, or doing the things isn't going to take us there without doing the love inside first.
Absolutely. And like Nicole said earlier, rest is part of your abundance. It's not something that you do after you achieve everything. It's like a lot of people would say, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Like, no. You sleep now too. You rest now too, because rest is your reach. That's part of loving yourself. You need to rest. That doesn't mean sleep all your life. That's not it. That's being lazy, or that's the other end of the stick, not sleeping or sleeping all the time. No, you balance. That's what you do. And rest is important, and learning to relax and let myself rest. That's also rest, just giving the mind a rest, It need not be just sleep. I still always think rest means sleep, and I'm like, I can't sleep all day. Mm-hmm. I can't sleep more than 6 or 8 hours. But it was not just about sleep. Sleep is important, but it's also about just giving the mind a break. Letting, or my heart speak to me, and giving that energy, the place it needs to flow out, instead of keeping it stuck inside. So yeah, rest is important.
It is, and rest is something that we can give ourselves in little increments throughout the day. It's not something that we have to stockpile for the end of the day. Because even in, like, if you have 5 minutes for a meditation, like you can go into a meditation that literally gives your body a deeper state of restfulness than sleep within like 3 minutes or something like that. It's like incredible how our bodies are created to sustain ourselves. Like God has given us this design in how we're made to be able to love and serve in any capacity that he has for us, and in every capacity, and that can always just grow and grow and grow as we learn how to move with that flow, move with how we're created, move with the love that we learn and heal within ourselves as we go.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. You're spot on. About that, because what I've seen also is you just take 10 deep breaths. Deep inhale, deep exhale, and by the end of it, you just want to smile, and then you smile, and that's your energy recharge reboot right there. You don't need to grab that caffeine every time. You don't need to grab any stimulant in that. Just focusing on your breath, is enough to also give you that relaxation and help you to go back into your heart, because we're so programmed to go into our headspace. Coming back in, that's also rest, that's also relaxing, and that pushes you down into your heart and keeps you there so that you move forward at a pace that is loving. So, yeah.
I love that what you're both pointing towards is that you can actively relax,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
You can actively meditate. You can actively go for a walk and rest your mind. Like, you don't have to take a nap every time you're like, oh, I need to relax, right? Sleep is not the only thing you can do to relax. Go for a walk, do an active meditation, do a breathing exercise. There are ways to actively relax without being like, oh my gosh, I'm doing so much work, I'm gonna have to sleep half the day, right? Sleep is not the only way to give your mind a break. It's not the only way to relax. You can actively relax and keep the momentum of your day and keep that love and energy flowing. You don't have to stop to relax. You can continue that momentum as you relax.
Yep. And when you're relaxed, your body relaxes, and you're not exhausted at the end of the day. And all your systems work well then, because you're in equilibrium with your breath. And when you're in balance with your breath, everything in your body works in balance.
Oh, now I'm having visions of like dancing around.
Yeah, that's a good
That
way.
is a way to relax and recharge too. Like,
Yeah,
it can all be a dance. Like, it can all be a dance.
Can be, yeah. You guys
one of my favorite ways to relax. Come on.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you dance and you have all these endorphins pumping, and you don't feel tired after that. You just feel more pumped. Like, it's
but
really
you also feel like invigorated. You feel like relaxed.
Yeah, you do. You feel really good about yourself. And then after that, when it's time to sleep, you sleep like a baby.
Again, it's like, yes, going back into following that flow and the guidance of God. Because like, God will tell us through the sensations of our bodies when we need to move. God will tell us when we're exhausted, okay, we need to sleep. God will tell us what we need in any moment through our feelings, through our emotions. Oh, I really need to love myself here. Or, oh, I just need to cry, or, oh, I just need to laugh, like, God's always speaking to us and always showing us what the next step is, where we need to go, what we need to do, what we need for ourselves, where we need to guide our love. And is always showing us like where the love for us is, like, instead of like going through, for example, like the job example, the career that sucks your soul for tiny scraps of wealth or tiny scraps, like, or the relationships that take all of your heart for these like scraps of love. It's all about shifting that into pouring all of your heart and all of your love into God and in yourself and into service and into places where you honor and value yourself and value what the work that you're doing is. And that's how all of that returns to you. It's all reflected back to you, and it all just grows in abundance and wealth and love and beauty everywhere.
I love what you're sharing, because I don't know if you recognized it, but the wash machine was very loud, and I didn't know if you heard it, but we heard the wash machine, and it was like, oh my gosh, I didn't really hear what I'm saying. And I'm like, when I'm now standing up and close the door, it looks very awkward because we are live and everyone can see us. And I'm just like, okay, God, what shall I do now? Shall I surrender and have this awkward feeling about not hearing myself speaking? Or and I loved myself there. And then I was clear about, okay, God, what's the next step? And then I was like, okay, even if it looks like embarrassing to now stand up and leave the room, close the door because of the wash machine, because I wasn't aware if you can hear it or not, but it was very loud.
It was really loud. It sounded like a storm.
And we unmuted ourselves and muted ourselves, unmuted ourselves, muted ourselves. I was just like, holy shit, what shall I do now? But that's where your wealth lies too, to really honor yourself and to love yourself there, to be authentic, to, okay, grow, to evolve, and to take the risk to not feel like, okay, I'm now looking perfect and I'm not moving and I'm just smiling. Even when you say, okay, there is something I have to do right now, even if it feels, not that kind of perfect you want to look like right now. Does it make sense?
Yes, absolutely. It's the authenticity. It's authentically showing up for God and for love. And that's where the wealth and abundance comes from. It's like, it's being yourself completely through every space of it. And that's how the love flows. That's how the service flows. Because when we're trying to look a certain way or be a certain way, we're cutting off that flow in some place and slowing the whole thing down, slowing down our ability to love, slowing down our ability to receive abundance and grow ourselves, grow our wealth, grow what we provide and can gift to the world.
We didn't notice the machine, you know why? Because God sent a fly to distract us. Focused on the fly, and we didn't hear anything else. And then we said the fly, and there's no fly now because everything's taken care of.
No, the fly was the awkward thing number one.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
So we didn't hear anything else. God's always got our back. Give you space to do what you need to do. Yeah, that's how God works. God's always showing us where to flow with the energy that, where to go to keep the flow.
If we could only just listen in every moment. I guess that's what it is. Like, we're learning how to listen. We're learning how to recognize it, learning how to stay in it when we hit that magic flow. Because I mean, there are times when I hit the flow and I'm like doing something and it's like magic is coming out of me. And it's like, God, I just want to live here. How can I live here, God? Let me live here. And that's what we're learning how to do, is we're learning how to make that a lifestyle, make that the way that we live.
Yeah, I loved when they said God will always give you everything you need to be closer to him if that's what you desire. And I was like, well, yeah, that makes complete sense. I'm like, God, I want to be closer to you. He's not going to be like, too bad, here's another roadblock, right? He's going to be like, all right. Like, God wants to be closer to us too. Like, he's going to move those mountains to be with you. You just have to surrender to that and trust that, like, if that's the desire in your heart, it's just like, I want to be closer to God. Why wouldn't he give you everything that you could possibly need to be closer to him? Like, that's absolutely what's going to happen. He wants nothing more than to be as close to us as possible. And if we're willing to do the work to get there, he's going to give us everything we need to be with him.
Yep, absolutely. And God doesn't delay. God's very supersonic in his presence and always there. Like, there have been so many times when I thought God wasn't with me, but in retrospect or in hindsight, God was always there, without a doubt. I mean, I had doubts, but now when I look at it, it's like, oh, no more doubts. Was there, always, and you just need to remember that and call out to God and have that, connection and communication with God. And I realized that I didn't have that consistently, but those times when I did call out, God was always right there. There was no delay in showing up, and showing up through different people. It's not necessary that God has to only show up in a particular way. God can show up in any way, through people, through pets, through anything, anyway, as long as you're open to receive the message.
I think that's something that Jose and Michaela talked about too, with the story where Jose, when before they were together, when Jose got his TIFA subscription and he just purchased it, not really knowing where the money was going to come from,
His
and
aunt, yeah,
gifts here and there, and just somehow worked out. And I think that's a very important thing when it comes to everything that you claim, be it support, be it money, be it whatever it is. You always have to be open to receive it in the way that God deems appropriate, because God knows how to support you. God knows what your needs are. God knows how he can bring it to you. And if you you say, I want to raise my wealth vibration, and how I want more money, I desire more money in my life, and you're okay, I need to receive it from my job, I want a pay raise from my job. You're very limiting controlling. You're in truth you're controlling where it's coming from. And yeah, that's something that Jose and Michaela mentioned too at the end, that it's very important to surrender your finances completely to God. And that means letting go of all control and just saying, okay, I choose to claim my divine true wealth vibration. I choose to claim my abundance and all that I desire, and claim my good. And then it's up to God to bring that to you in the perfect way. And many times it will probably look and come from a completely different place than what you expected it to look like, or where you expected it to come from. But that's how God works, and most of it, always it will be better than how you thought it would be.
Yeah, let yourself be surprised.
Yeah, and these are the good surprises.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, be surprised at the love that comes, the wealth that comes, the abundance that comes, the purpose that comes, the next sense of that comes. That.
Yeah, when you love yourself, it's always good. Always good.
I forgot to share this. We're currently experiencing this when it comes to our support system for our son. We've had a certain support system built for when it comes to just being supported in taking care of our son. And some of the people that were there before started falling away, and making some not very loving choices, so that it was just okay, we can't we don't trust these people with our son anymore. We need to find alternatives, so to say. But at the same time that was happening, new people were already stepping into that place and supporting us, God, through these people, so that it was almost it was such a smooth transition that we literally at no point were oh my God, okay, what, our support system is falling away, because the moment it seemed like it was falling away, the better thing already came along. And that's just a good example to kind of see how everything that you achieve vibrationally stays, because you've achieved it spiritually. It's in your vibration. Everything that you see in your external reality is a reflection of what you have on the inside. So if you've achieved a certain level of abundance, a certain level of support in an area in your life, that support is gonna stay there because it comes from God. God is your source. But you have to let go of any attachment you have to that support or that money coming from a certain place, a certain job, a certain person, and just really recognize that, God is my source, and God, I always have God, but God can show up in different ways for me, and God can maybe stop showing up through this person for me, but then will show up through this other person for me. And same thing when it comes to money, maybe one source of income will like fall away, but at the same time, because you've achieved it vibrationally, another source of income will open up, and God will support you through a different place, through a different person, through a different job, or whatever it looks like.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I'm so glad you have the support and you got the best support, you know. That's so important, and it just shows that God never leaves you in the lurch.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you,
It's
Anna.
always there.
Thank you. That's very sweet of you.
Wonderful. Yeah. I love what you shared, you know, about how your house upgrade, and you know, about the dishwasher, wasn't it? But now you have a washing machine also. And of course, so you know, I mean, it's just amazing how God supports every dream and desire that we have, and you know, it's all part of your abundance.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just in one area of your life, it's in every aspect of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And you can claim abundance everywhere. Health, you know, friendship, relationships, family, in anything.
Mm-hmm. And
Food.
you please go ahead.
Yeah, food. I was just going to say food.
Absolutely.
Divine
And
dish.
divine dish. You know what I found is like for us, like I feel like our like healing our home and claiming a supportive home, that's like been a big thing when it comes to like our abundance. Like your home is a big thing where like your abundance is showing up in your life, because if you have a home that is not supporting you, like what we found like in our old place, like we reached that, like we were maxed out when it comes to how much we were giving, because like our home only supported us to that level. And beyond that, we're like, okay, if we want to give more and grow in our abundance and expand in our life, we need to have a better, more supportive foundation, more abundance in our home, more support in our home, so that we can continue like, yeah, ascending in this part in our consciousness and expand. And that's like how
Give more.
and give more, yeah. And that's how it like works with like everything. And like one thing that I think this is definitely from an LPC class.
Yeah,
I don't know which one.
Mm.
But definitely, yeah, in a class they talk about how like when you claim more money or you desire to manifest more money, it has to have like a purpose. It's not just about like, oh, let me become a millionaire because it's so nice to have a millionaire, to be a millionaire, but like you attract that and create that lifestyle because that's what you need to be supported to give your gift. Like it has to serve a purpose. It's not just for the money per se, or for having fancy things, or for having a beautiful home, but it's because that's what you require for your foundation, so that you can share and give your gift. And if you you miss that part of like, what purpose does this have for you, then like manifesting what you need will be like it won't happen, because if it doesn't have a purpose and you're not clear on the purpose, you can't attract it to you, and God will not give it to you.
Yeah, because your abundance is for you to enjoy, not to keep in the bank. And that used to be like when people ask, what I would like, I would love $1 million. What would you do with it?
I don't know.
I don't know. Put it in the bank. And then that's it. I just want to see $1 million in my bank. It doesn't, but that's not the purpose of the money. Yes, of course. You can keep some aside, you know, invest it, or, you know, whatever. But that purpose is for you to live your life, not to keep your life on hold, being afraid that that money has to be there so that, you know, then I will be happy. You know, that I mean, that's what, like you said, you know, let go that control, let go that old conditioning, and really work on that foundation. Because once that foundation is set, then, you know, you can really start to explore and expand your own horizons. You don't need to limit yourself, because that's not abundance. Abundance is not limiting yourself. And putting that 1 million in the bank is limiting myself. Okay, stay there. I'll get to you sometime. It's not just to look at it, it's to enjoy it.
Perfect. do you want to share something? No.
Mm-mm.
Okay. We've come to the close of our discussion today. Is there anyone who has something they really need to share that is on their heart and they need to get it out to our audience? That's everyone.
Just thank you.
No, thank you so much. This was wonderful.
Wonderful. Thank you everyone
Thank
for
you.
this amazing discussion. And everyone for watching, thank you for watching. And yeah, we wish everyone a wonderful rest of their Sunday. And yeah,
Have an abundant week.
have an
Have an
abundant
abundant
week.
Perfect.
Yay.
Thank you.
Bye.